Five, four, three, two, one, zero. All engine running.
So hello everybody, welcome to Turbojugend Radio, the February episode. And as promised in the Christmas episode, I would like to also make other people work for that very podcast. And this is why I dragged Niels Seppe from Turbojugend Holding into the podcast, because he actually set up a very, very special and nice thing for the month of January. His project is called Soberjugend. It's a very relevant project, as it turned out. And this is exactly the reason why I'm turning the mic over to Niels, who's taken over the podcast, and I'll be, for the first time after 75 episodes, for the first time, I'll be a guest on my own podcast. So Niels, take over.
Thank you for that. Yeah. Today we are here online on Zoom with our friends Gracie, Kevin, and Benjamin, and we will be talking a bit about the subject alcohol, or should we rather say taking a break from drinking alcohol. We will also be discussing Soberjugend, 1 month without alcohol challenge, and try to figure out why so many happy drinkers decided to pause the normal alcohol habits and what kind of benefits it brought to them in return. So let's start this interview by presenting our guests. Please introduce yourself to the listeners and tell them your warrior name and where you're from and what chapter you're located in.
And no, ladies first.
Let's be gentlemen and start with the ladies. Gracie.
Hi, everybody. I am Gracie Green. I am from the Los Angeles Turbojugend. I am from California. Yeah, that's me.
Your warrior name?
I am Ladybug Daisy.
There we go. Let's pass that on to Kevin.
Hello, I'm Kevin Brooks. That is my professional name. My comedian party name is Kevin Von Helvet. I'm from Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. I'm president of Turbojugend Vancouver. And my warrior name is Rad Mongo. And I'm drinking 0% beer right now.
Cheers to that one. And last and not to forget, Benjamin.
All right, everyone. So my name is Benjamin Tendrich Knežević. I'm from the Turbojugend Dublin chapter, but I'm currently based in Sweden, in Malmö. And my warrior name is Politruk Dikeberta.
There we go. Well, thanks for doing this one with us. And thank you for introducing yourself. Let's move on to the topic for today, being sober. So let me start by asking you guys, how long have you been sober so far? And we can start with Benjamin.
Well, for me, it hasn't been very long. Like last time yesterday, I had a little dinner party with a friend, shared a bottle of wine, but except that, quite sober. Don't drink much at all, really. So.
Yeah, because you were also starting during the sober January, but kind of decided to also have the perks of drinking a bit once in a while.
Exactly. For me, it's more important to not go all out with the drinking. So it's more about, if I sit down with a couple of buds, I can have a pint or a glass of wine or something like that. But I'll try to avoid, getting shit faced or, have an all night bender. So once in a while I might, switch around. So I'll be drinking a couple of alcohol-free beers, maybe have a couple that are maybe 5%, and then back to drinking alcohol-free ones, to just keep it on a very steady level. So it's more about not overdoing it, really, for my perspective.
Drinking as an adult.
Basically, yes. I'm 25, right? You know, I got to grow up at some point.
Is
And
it just one question? Is it something that you always do just to never go overboard, or is it just this thing that you're doing for January only?
Just for January, like the thing is, as a currently as a full-time student at Lund University, I have a lot of essays and studies to get through. And for about a year now, I've been regularly going to the gym and stuff like that. So it's like to actually go out and drinking regularly doesn't really work with my lifestyle that I have right now. So I mostly avoid drinking at all in the first place, and then once in a while I might just go out for an absolute bender and then just get destroyed. So now it's more to just either not drink at all by majority, and then maybe at least have a glass of wine here or there, like I had with my friend yesterday, and that's about it. Like, so trying to keep it very, very clean, so to say.
yeah, I can also say that I've seen you way over shit-faced many times. So, but I'm happy it's getting better for you.
I'm sorry. I would like to call my lawyer before continuing this discussion, please.
So, what about you, Kevin? How long have you been sober?
What day is it? I started around noon. I guess I stopped partying around noon on January 1st. So I knew I was shutting her down for a month. So I fucking went all out New Year's Eve, and may have done a little more than drinking. So I stayed up till about noon on January 1st. Laid my head down, and since then I haven't drank. I actually started this going with friends, two of my best friends, fucking Nick, the incredible Boyad, and fucking Puke, we call him. He's a beauty. Just, we'd all been drinking a lot being on the break, and it was just, Luke was like, man, let's do this. Let's do Sober January. And then Turbojugend was doing it too. So I was like, oh, fuck yeah, I'll join in on that. I feel great. Like it's, I lost all my work. I'm a public speaker. I do comedy, performer. I travel. And just with COVID, it all shut down in March. So I've been home and there's fuck all to do. So I just found myself drinking more and more, which is all right. You know, I did a lot of late night, all night Zoom parties with Turbojugend friends that I fucking never met before, some that I had, and some made new friends. But what I found since I've been off it is I've been just so productive in those 3 weeks, and just really trying to get business going again, because I got to do something, because I can't just fucking sit around and wait for this COVID shit to be gone. So yeah, it's been good. I feel really good. I've been riding like my hand cycle. I've been cooking, not ordering any shitty food. I think I've lost some weight. I think my dick's got bigger, and I'm still I'm happy, man. Like I'm drinking these, they're not even beers, but I feel like I'm partying right now, which kind of makes me rethink everything about alcohol, because I'm having a fucking blast and there's no booze.
Yeah, so for the record,
Yes.
we're enjoying here alcohol-free beers and rattlers. And
Yeah, I got a Grolsch Radler.
there we go. It's not the same actual feeling like drinking a beer, but it does the trick, right?
These are good too. These are, I think these, I don't know if those are
What is it?
American or something.
O'Doul's?
O'Doul's.
But
Those are common out here.
let's pause that for a second, because that's actually going to be talked about later in this episode. But Gracie, how long have you been sober?
I started after our Zoom on New Year's.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, the first like 4 a.m. that day.
That was after the great festival of 7 days of Zooming from
Yes.
Christmas to New Year's Eve.
Yes.
And I feel that many people experience that they partied so hard on New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
Because they knew they were going to face the truth of staying a bit away or loose on alcohol the next couple of months.
Yeah.
And I would like to ask you also, why did you decide to join or try out the Soberjugend Challenge?
You know, I was sober for like 10 years, from 2018, December the 7th, when I actually got accepted in, my husband and I got accepted into the Turbojugend in Los Angeles. I was sober. My drink was a Shirley Temple. and then I celebrated. And then shortly after that, New Year's 2019, I just started drinking again. And I just kept drinking. From being sober for so long and then just start drinking, I was just enjoying life. And that's what I was going to do, and I kept doing it, and I've had a good time. I've enjoyed meeting so many people worldwide with your Zoom chats, and it's been a pleasure to just be on them.
Mhm.
And I said, you know what, it's time. I'm getting a little chubby, a little fat here. I want to try to get a little bit more fit and just try something new. I'm going to probably not drink so much after the month is over. I'm going to try to get more on the healthier side and get a little bit more fit. So that's just yeah, that's kind of what I've been doing. And I haven't drank any non-alcoholic beer. I've been drinking energy drinks, water, um some 0% water with like pineapple. Um
Mhm.
yeah, it's been okay.
Yeah, great. That's a great job. And for you all, do you feel any difference, like on your body or mind, or maybe daily routines of after quitting alcohol for a longer period?
I feel like
I
almost, sorry, go ahead, Gracie.
Oh, no, no, it's cool. No, no,
Ladies,
I feel better. Yeah, I feel better. I feel healthier. I mean, that's like the number one thing. I feel more, just here in the present.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
agree. I
I'd
feel, go ahead. I'm
yeah,
going to get
I
another fucking
definitely
Rattler.
feel you do so. No, but I can definitely
I will.
feel that you become like a way lot healthier.
Uh-huh.
Especially as usually have quite long breaks from drinking and then just going sober for like a month, 2, 3 sometimes. And then
Mhm.
when you go back to it, you can really feel how it affects your body, especially if you're partying regularly. And it's like you need more sleep, you get more tired, you don't have the same focus, you don't have the same energy at the gym and stuff
Mm.
like that. So it's a very big difference, personally, to be fully sober and having periods where I'm actually partying. Um,
Yeah.
I prefer both. Like, I wouldn't say that I prefer one of them. I think they have their own positive aspects in both ways. One is maybe a bit more fun, but the other one maybe gives a bit more long term, I'd say. So I like the ability to be able to do one for a certain amount of time and then go back for a little bit and then go back sober again and keep it like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think everybody is nodding here in the chat. I think everybody agrees on that. And I mean, it haven't been super much party since we are in the big pandemic situation, but do you feel like it would be a taboo not to drink alcohol when partying or being social with other Jugends, for example, at Turbojugend get downs or parties or concerts?
I
Well,
think it all depends.
I've had it once. I was once at the Jugendtag in Hamburg, and I had a weird um, infection here and in the throat area. And what happened to me is I was waking up, and as I was waking up, the fever started, and at 8 o'clock at night, I had almost 40 degrees fever, which
Oh,
is almost almost lethal, right?
yeah.
I don't have the Fahrenheit, but it must be close to 100, whatever, which is officially dangerous. So I had to not drink because I didn't want to drink, obviously, but I wanted to stay there at the Welche Jugendtage. So when I experienced the whole mayhem, and I was like, at some point, it was either my body telling me to go to freaking bed, or the whole atmosphere is like, okay, I can. Those dialects, I don't. It's too much for me. But usually, yeah, after all those years in the Jugend, when I was first beginning and starting my Jugend, it was in 2003. I was younger, obviously. I was in my late 20s, and I noticed that after the Weltjugendtage, after 4 3, people were hugging and greeting me, and I never met them, but they met me. They meet me, but I never realized that I was actually I got to know them. So over the years, it sort of flattened out a bit. But going back to your question, I think I would have a hard time I
Yeah.
could do it, but would have a hard time partying with all those freaks.
Yeah,
Drunk freaks.
it's the same old situation. Like when you're sober and everybody else of your friends are super drunk and retarded, it's like kicking in the door to Mordor, and just I don't want to go there. I don't know.
I could do it, but I don't think I'd want to do it. Like, I associate getting together with Turbo as it's party time. I'd rather be like, fuck it, I'm not going to party for a month and wait till we all get together. Now, I think if it's a smaller hangout, you know, if I'm getting together with a couple people from my chapter and we're going to go for, you know, dinner or some shit, to have a couple non-alcohol beers easily. But if it's something like punk rock bowling in Vegas, which is, you know, here in North America, that's our fucking, for me anyway, that's my big get down with everyone.
Yeah.
I don't know. That would be fucking, that'd be interesting sober. I don't know if I'd way rather do it drunk and high as fuck, personally.
It is kind of scary to think of, isn't it?
It's weird.
Well,
honestly.
I can say that in the 2019, when I started drinking again, throughout that time frame, it wasn't steady. So I had been going out with everybody, and a lot of the times they're like, "Hey, why aren't you drinking?" I'm like, "Oh no, you know, I'm not doing it." And then,
Yeah.
you know, after months had gone by throughout the year of 2019, I found myself saying, why not? Why not just one beer? So then it wasn't so steady until the end of 2019 for me. And then when that pandemic hit, man, that beer just was my friend. You know, I don't know.
Well, for
I
me
hear you.
personally, I'm also doing a lot of Zoom chats, and I can really see the big contrast between sober people and super drunk people. Also in the conversations, of course, and the mood and the things that people are willing to discuss why they are drinking a lot of alcohol.
But
And
who has the
You.
better mood?
definitely the sober guys. If,
Who,
funny
who's,
enough.
who stays up later? Definitely the drunk partiers, right?
Yeah, but it's also quite fun to. I mean, it's like looking at a circus, you know, just sitting in a corner and observing people saying stupid things. You can really see the difference there. So that was quite fun for me in the Zoom chats, at least. But also, I think it would be maybe weird. I mean, it is possible. There's a lot of other Turbojugend people from our friends that staying sober and do
Yeah.
have the skills to party together with their drunk friends, and I think that's very important to see that it's okay not to drink. You don't need to drink when you're at Turbojugend parties.
You don't. I won't name any
Yeah.
names, but I know a Turbojugend friend who quit drinking years ago and just does nothing but cocaine, and he's having that person's having a great time.
Yeah, like my
He's
husband.
faking it.
Doesn't miss alcohol one bit. Fucking huge bag of booger sugar everywhere that person goes. Always
So
smiling.
cute.
And
I know this person, Gracie.
Ooh. Did you call his fun bag booger sugar?
I did, yes.
Oh
Well,
man.
well, to get back on track, I would like to ask you if you feel like, is it easier to quit alcohol when you're doing it together with a group of friends, or would you rather do it alone and as a solo project?
I'd probably definitely do it alone. First of all, I really don't like preaching. You know, oh, let's go sober together. You know, it's like it's really, you know, not my monkeys, not my circus, what somebody else does. So because of that, I just keep it to myself, basically.
Oh, that's pretty interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, but I usually don't even have the issue with like sitting with people that are drunk and just drinking alcohol free, anyways.
Mhm.
I usually just don't mention that it's actually alcohol-free beer. Everybody thinks I'm fucking stupid anyways. So it's like there's no difference anyways, sober or drunk. So
Yeah.
I like the group thing because I think it gives accountability. Like, I know I had a bit of a rough fucking day last week, you know, just financial shit. I was trying to get this fucking loan, then I found out my identity got stolen. All these credit cards showed up in my mail. And I'm like, I've quit smoking and vaping too since this. I'm trying to do
sweet.
that. So I've gone cold turkey on alcohol and nicotine since January 1st. And they definitely go together. Like, I'd never quit smoking if I wasn't also not drinking. but I was like, fuck, I want to drink and I want to smoke, just really stressed out. And I thought about that I'm doing this weekend, and I'm like, I don't want to go in there and be like, fuck. And I also, my buddies that we went in on it, we put $100 each in it too. So if one of us fails, we're out $200. And I think for myself, it's good to have some accountability, someone to answer to. It made it easier for me just definitely not to go, fuck it, and you know.
I feel like there's a lot of support also in the Soberjugend group, with a lot of
Yeah.
people that posting things, or
Yeah.
you know, just want to say, hey, I made it on my first week, or I made it 2 years. I see a lot of support and people really backing each other up, and that is a help for myself also. And I
Yeah.
kind of like that you have a big community, and yeah, people go together. Yeah, Chivesta.
How many members are in that group?
We
Members,
have,
I like that word. It's beautiful.
yeah, so that's a very interesting question, because I just looked at it today, and we have close to 100 people. I think
Cool.
it's 97 people that signed up for it. And of course, there are somebody that did not resist the good stuff about the alcohol power. And so far, I'm doing a video, like a little tribute to all that made it this month. And so far, we are more than 70 people that's still going full sober in January.
That's
That's awesome,
70% roughly. That's
Yeah.
good.
So
That's a good
that's
goal.
and in the beginning, I thought like, yeah, if I would have like 5 to 10 friends that would join me just to support me, I would do it, because I'm also supporting friends and we can support each other. But now we are over 70 people that's doing it. That's very, very a scary number, to be fair, seen in the Turbojugend.
But I think it's good to have the group too, because I think some people are struggling with it more than others too. Like I've just seen some of the messages. Some people are really like, it's fucking hard.
Yeah.
And I think that's good, you know, that where, I mean, it's all fun and stuff, but I'm sure there's addictions out there too that need to be addressed. And when there's people you can talk to about it and people who are doing it with you, that definitely helps, right?
Yeah.
But it's also kind of like in the name. If you have a habit, you know, it's like if you have a habit off it, you really need to try to find other stuff to do.
For
You
sure.
know, other stuff to like motivate you. It's like, what am I going to do? You know, which is also like really hard now during Corona. Like, to be fair, you know, I'm really lucky being in Sweden that we don't have a lockdown and our bars are still open, so we can still go out and have a drink and socialize and do whatever we want. But like, I can really still understand how tricky it must be for those people that must be like at home or to just a small circle, not being able to actually enjoy activities outside of the home.
Yeah.
So it must be a real struggle for a lot of people. I think you're definitely right about that one.
I think it's more than that. It's even if it, you know, I live in Germany obviously, and we have all those lockdown situations, and I talk to people, non-Jugend people, everybody, and most of the people really dramatically increase their drinking because it's a way of coping with that whole situation, a way of relaxing.
Yeah.
That's the way I handle it. I mean, I know, but I mean, I handle it in a very normally. I'm also sober in that January, which I always do every year. But I would drive 4.5 hours to get my favorite beer from Franconia and back. So it's 9 hours drive for beer. So this beer is very obviously very important to me.
I want one of these.
It's I'll hook you up.
Yeah, man. Wow.
On my next trip, definitely. It's the best on the planet.
But in general, I also feel that it's not also, if we're not talking about only drinking, but I've seen also other people in Turbojugend make other groups to be more social and killing time during the pandemic. I know, for example, Sarah from the Dutch girl.
Yeah, Sarah Booston. She was in Canada for a while too.
Exactly. She made a group called Stitch and Bitch, where she's teaching her friends or the people that wants to do knitting, and they're going into that group, knitting together, talking together, and probably also partying together. So I see a lot of different
Is that a Jugend group, a Jugend stitching group?
Yeah.
I saw that the other day too.
It's pretty rad.
It's called All My Friends Are Thread.
Yes, amazing.
And I thought I've seen it all, but no way.
You know we're
You're my
getting
favorite
fucking
part.
old when, right?
Yeah.
We're getting older.
This is another issue I would like to ask the whole group. Do you think that because aging? I mean, I've aged in the I'm almost what is it? 20, almost 20 years in the Jugend right now.
Yeah.
And obviously my behavior at parties and my drinking was never a bad boy really, but my drinking behavior really changed because in the first 5 years I never remembered anything, and now I do, because with age you sort of you are reducing the amount of alcohol you are consuming, right? So do you think this whole Soberjugend thing, or is also a sign of because the Jugens are aging, right? The people in the Jugens are aging and they're more open to a thing like a Soberjugend more than maybe some 10 years ago?
I think so.
I personally felt like I began my life when I got into Turbojugend in 2018 of December. I didn't drink. I didn't drink. I was doing the mom thing. And I didn't want my son to see me drinking, but he became 18 and my life began, and I felt like it was just time to party and just, have a good time and be with my friends. And I don't know. I don't know. It's been nice. I mean, I don't know. I don't know about the aging part because I feel like I'm still young, even though I'm not. I'm almost 40 here, but I mean, I felt like my life just began when I started drinking again.
You took a nice break though too. I know someone like myself, I've only been in the Jugend for maybe 5 years or something, but I mean the 20 years before that I was fucking wasted the whole time too. I didn't take Jugend to party. I think I fit with people I met. I was partying when I got asked to join the Jugend. But I know for myself, I'm like 42 almost now, and I'm like, it starts to wear on you. And I'm like, yeah, like I knew this was due at some point to take a little break for my organs, for my brain, just to clear out and just to get out of that routine. I don't know, the routine of like party, feel like shit the next day, order a pizza, feel like shit the next day, feel better the next day, start get drunk again. Fuck, right? Like, but
Well, I was
yeah.
hanging out with Turbojugend in Long Beach for about 2 years before I got into the Jugend, and I was
love
sober
them,
the
by the
whole
way.
time. I was
Good for
sober the
you.
whole time.
Good for you,
And then it
because they
wasn't
party.
until and it wasn't until I got in to Turbojugend in Los Angeles that I started drinking. But it was really slow. It wasn't like, oh yeah, hardcore, let's do this. No, it was I was still kind of like, oh, maybe I shouldn't do it type thing, because I'm a heavy drinker when I drink. And when I start drinking, sometimes I don't know my limit, and I will and I pound them back, man. I'm on like 6, 7 beers and I'm just like, oh, well, let's do more. Let's do two,
Yeah,
So,
I share the same, and but also I really feel I'm 37 now, and I really feel it's getting harder and harder to be that party animal that I want to be. And the hangovers are getting worse and worse every year. So I think
and the duration of it. For me, it's
yeah,
not Saturday drinking means pain until Tuesday morning.
there
If
you
I'm
there
really
you
at
go.
it.
Yeah,
Especially
Usually it was Sunday night. Now it's Tuesday morning.
But like, to be fair, I'm still not sure if it's about age. Like, to be fair, I'm 25. Like, I can really be awake until 9 o'clock in the morning. I'm still gonna wake up fine a couple of hours later, because I'm still young. But I think there's more of a fundamental change, maybe at least in society. You see all this alcohol-free beers being produced. You see that there's a market for it. So I think there's just more that people are, kind of getting used to not drinking all the time. So I think that might also be a big part, that there are so many that are interested in taking like a month's break, and not necessarily because of age. Because like the Jugend is still growing. You still have young members joining it, both young and old. Some are way older and party all the time, and some are like 20 and teetotalers, So I think it's more of like a fundamental change in
I
society,
agree.
The lifestyle thing?
rather than the Jugend
Yeah.
or based on age, for example.
I agree.
Well, that's what I agree with that also, because like I said before, I didn't drink. and for 10 years. And then, I got into Turbojugend, and it was different. It's not an age thing for me. It really isn't. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
I would like to know if you, and you don't need to answer it, but have any of you guys used any other substance instead of alcohol during the challenge?
Nope.
Well,
Nope.
I
I have a
was
little bit.
I'm a non-smoker, but I sort of drifted over to snus, which is dip in the American language, chewing tobacco, red skull
Yeah.
or whatnot. So
Mhm.
I used one whole can, which I never do, because since I also stopped eating chocolate,
Mhm.
I had
What?
the double turkey, the cold one,
Yeah.
but I sort of started doing this chewing tobacco a little bit more, but I can turn that down at any point.
That's good.
It's not a really big drug, but still, it's not a good thing.
Hmm.
But like, I kind of agree with that. Like, I've always been a very big fan of tobacco. Doesn't matter what shape or form.
Same.
But after basically just going clean with everything, the only thing that I might let myself enjoy once in a while, it's either like a Cuban cigar. Maybe I still do smoke like tobacco pipes,
Yeah.
and then of course I live in Sweden. I'm I'm Swedish. That means snus.
Snooze.
Snus is an important part, a vital part of the Swedish breakfast.
And what's
It's a
that's the chewing
breakfast
to?
thing.
What's that?
No,
What's
like Swedish snus, it either comes like in a bag
yeah?
or it's just loose. It kind of nearly looks like clay, and you roll
Yeah.
it into a small ball and put it under your lip, and then
Okay,
you
so
just
yeah,
let the
Almost like
saliva
tobacco,
just
like
make it
skull.
drip.
chewing
I,
tobacco.
I
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
took that question as if you were doing something else like marijuana or cocaine.
Yeah.
For
That
me,
could
cigarettes
that could
is
also.
not like, yeah, I don't associate cigarettes with that stuff.
yeah.
I mean,
Well,
I've been
to
smoking
be
for a
fair,
long time.
yeah.
I
To be
started.
fair,
Go ahead.
like yeah, to be fair, I get your point, but I still think it's easy to like. For example, if we look at it in this way, like so, alcohol still will still calm your nerves a tiny
Mm.
bit, in a certain way, relax, hang out with your mates.
Mhm.
So if you stop drinking, it's very easy to start smoking a lot of cigarettes or something like that because it also calms your nerves. So I guess it kind of counts. Still as
Yeah,
a drug,
maybe.
but I still get your point, with like, I don't know, MDMA or, any
Yeah,
other type
never
of
done any of
hard
that. I know
drugs.
Kevin was like he stopped drinking and he stopped smoking. I couldn't do both. Kevin, you're strong for that, man.
I
Yeah.
thank you. I found that I've been craving the smoking more than the drinking.
Mm.
And then
Yeah.
also funny, just the taste, even though this has no alcohol in it,
Mm.
the taste of beer makes me want to fucking smoke.
Yeah.
So I found myself really itching to smoke. It's just they just go together. It's like a trigger thing. And I have a bunch of weed here. I don't weed. Marijuana does not agree with me. Like it makes me
Oh,
fucking quiet and weird. I couldn't even do this interview on it if I was on it.
please
I'd be
don't
all like,
smoke.
fuck, like. But I was smoking that because it put some smoke in my lungs. But the funny thing about it is I get so fucking high from it that I thought I was drunk because I was like, just kept drinking these and being like, wow, I feel fucked up. And I'm like, oh yeah, it's just the weed.
Yeah, but that's also the
I always
thing,
go sideways.
weed is tricky, man. It's like
Yeah.
you have a few puffs and suddenly you realize you're like a retarded Alan Watts,
Yeah, I
It's
don't
like,
like it.
it's
Yeah.
better to just stay away,
Yeah. I think I did it like 2 or 3 times, and then my buddy came over with some edibles and they got me way too fucked up. And then I haven't even touched marijuana in about 2 weeks.
All right.
See, I've never been into smoking weed at all.
Lucky
Mm-mm.
you. Yeah. I
What about
honestly could never do it again and I wouldn't miss it.
that we I'm gonna open this Flensburger Frei non-alcoholic beer. It has a
Yeah, that
great
thing.
sound.
Yeah.
Whoops.
Oh, wow.
And I don't know if you can recommend any soft drinks or mocktails for some of the listeners out there. What could you, Gracie was mentioning energy drinks, or Kevin was mentioning some alcohol-free beers. What can you recommend for the listeners to drink if they want to try out being sober for a period?
Shirley Temples were always my go-to because it was sweet. it appeared to be a drink, when we were out. That was always my go-to whenever I went out. At home, I mean, yeah, the energy drinks are good, or when I'm at work, because I'm still working, yeah, that helps, but I mean, I work where there is like bottles everywhere and beer everywhere. So, it's like
You.
I uh, I would always stop at those aisles and be like, okay, I want to get this one, and when I did start drinking again, I tried to go through a couple of them, and I even had like that whole let me try different ones, you
Mhm.
know. And I did try some zero alcohol beer, but it just wasn't for me. Um,
Most
I
of
don't
them
know.
has a very weird taste, but
Yeah.
for me as a Danish man, I could surely recommend the Tuborg Zero, the Tuborg Null, and also the Carlsberg 0%. Very, very good. To be fair, sorry Germany, this is only for the sound. It's not
Yeah,
that
it's
quite good a
shitty, I
beer.
know.
Like
Teresa?
to be fair, like to be honest, I really prefer a lot of the alcohol-free beers over the alcoholic ones. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm bamboozled by it. When I started trying out a bunch of alcohol-free beers, I thought they would be horrible. Uh, but nah, I really like them. Especially have one called Klausthaler. It's
Oh
a
yeah,
German one,
The
German.
German
and
one. Yeah.
it's actually the first. Like they started making it already in the 70s. It's like the first non-alcoholic
Yes.
beer, and it's like I love them. They're fantastic. And also I know that Gordon's Gin, they
Mhm.
have
I heard about that.
gin tonics, like finished gin tonics, like with a hint of lime in them, which are
Yeah.
also 0%, which are lovely. Especially me, I'm a big gin drinker, so it's like to be able to have gin tonics without the alcohol, it's a lifesaver.
Well, I
I
mean,
heard about that actually, and I was wondering what that was. And my friend tried it because he's the buddies I'm doing this with look close to home. He said the gin was really good, the alcohol-free gin. It's nice.
It's
You can
really
go
good.
into a grocery store now, and there's like 10 different kinds of
Hmm.
fucking non-alcohol beverage
brand
beers,
new
and
world.
then there's wines too.
Mm. But
Oh,
but
wow, wine.
What I'm noticing is that, or what since I'm from Germany, and you have this next to Klausthaler, we have this, which one is really good. It's an Erdinger Weissbier, Erdinger
I agree.
alcohol free. That's kind of good. I've tried some
oh, it's the
Kolsch.
one with the blue label, isn't it?
Yes, dark
Yeah,
blue
Exactly.
I've
label.
tried that one. Oh, it's fantastic.
So that's kind of good. But apart from that, I live in Cologne. They have this Kolsch style of brewing, and they all taste like horse piss. So I wouldn't go there. But one thing I noticed that if you ever come across an alcohol-free IPA, for
Yeah.
some reason they can fake the taste of an IPA really well.
I
There
share
is
Sing
your,
not
in.
much of a
I totally
difference,
agree. Yeah.
and that's a very good go-to thing. Maybe even at parties, because I was taught at a certain age you should, when you're drinking, e- even if it's not a sober month, when you're drinking, you should in between drink water, which I can
Yeah.
never do. So
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
constantly,
Yeah.
honestly, when I'm out, let's say in Hamburg, I'm drinking. I don't think that's news anyway, but from 7 o'clock at night until 5 o'clock in the morning, toujours alcohol, always alcohol. No, it would never cross my mind to ever drink water
Yeah.
while drinking. Maybe that's also a starter. But since you were asked for the substitutions,
Mm.
Niels, I would also always go for bitter lemon, as Ladybug said. I think it's also a drink. It resembles something special, something different than water or coffee or what else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Like
not a big soda
like
guy, so
it
it
gives you
also hits the
kind of a
spot.
placebo thing about actually
Yeah.
There is.
drinking something, even though it's not alcohol.
It's
Bitter
funny.
lemon
It's
is
I know
really
Yeah,
good.
it does.
it gives a bit of a tingle. Like I've asked myself a couple of times, like, does alcohol-free beer actually make you drunk? But I think it's, first of all, the flavor, and you're used to it to get that reaction, and especially if you're sitting and partying with people that are drinking, I think it's a bit of
A
it's
mental
like
thing.
Yeah.
they contaminate you, with the drunkenness, like a
Yeah.
collective effervescence. You kind of pick it up from the group, even if you're sober. So I've noticed that a couple of times.
I
It's
agree.
like you feel drunk like in the moment, and then it's time to go home and take your bike to get home, and you're like, oh shit,
No bike.
I can actually cycle straight. It's like totally impressed with yourself.
And
Yeah, that's so true. I remember years ago, me and my friend did a big sober, and we're out on a boat, on his boat, and we probably drank like fucking 12 packs of these O'Douls between us, and we're just like
Yeah.
hammering them down, and we're having the best time. We're like, oh yeah, like we're not drunk right now. Like, and we should like make a commercial where we're shotgunning them and jumping off the boat and just like, because there's
Sober
something, it
fun.
definitely clicks in your brain. There's, I don't know if it's dopamine or what, but just the flavor says it's party time, and it kind of makes you happy. And then you wake up the next day, you don't feel like shit, and you remember everything you did, and you have your pants and both your shoes, and nobody
because
hates
that
you.
is also
it's
one of the
it's like
perks of not drinking, is that you don't get the fucking hangovers,
Oh yeah, for sure.
which is probably the greatest perk of them all.
It
But
is. But to go back, let me say this fucking Radler thing is, if you can get these, this is like candy. It's so good.
I'm gonna have to check that one out because I haven't tried any of all these like non-alcoholic beers and all this and that. Like, I'm not into it. I'm like, I'm not gonna waste my money on that.
You know
What
what,
if I
mate?
don't like it?
Those Radler, it's a German word or Bavarian or Austrian word. It means it's a cyclist, right? Radler. It's a cyclist. They used to mix beer with some lemonade after cycling.
That's what
and really got them going. And usually it's alcohol. Obviously it's beer mixed with lemonade, right? But now, as Kevin, as you were mentioning, this is a 0-point Radler, so it's an alcohol-free Radler. So that's also out there. I mean, maybe if you're not thinking total soberness, maybe a Radler in between. They have the Austrian brewery Stiegel. They have a grapefruit Radler, and I saw it in San Diego at the Pizza Port. Awesome place. I don't know if you're familiar with that. It's a pizza place that sells lots of beers, like a microbrewery, and they even had some Austrian grapefruit Radler. So if you ever get across this one, it's really, really good to drink.
I've had them too. Are they less alcohol than, say, a regular beer then, because of the fruits?
Yes, it's a Radler, right? It's a Radler. It's a mixture, so it's, I would say 50%.
soft bullet.
Okay. Yeah.
All right,
Cool.
but it's going to be interesting to see in the future if you're going to continue the challenge or if you're going to stay a bit sober, or at least have a healthier lifestyle. We can take another talk in half a year and see where it all ended up for you guys. And for every one of the listeners out there, if you want to try to do the challenge, please be welcome in the group. It's called Soberjugend Challenge, 1 month without alcohol. Everybody can join. It doesn't mean that you need to do 1 month. You can also just try it out and try it as many times as you want. But I think it's time to end up this interview and summarize it all up. And once again, thank you for having this talk with us. I hope you have had a great start of the new year, even though we are still struggling with the damn pandemic. And Chabesta, what do you think here? Will you continue to pause the alcohol maybe, or just cut the amount of drinking to a lower level?
No, the thing is, I'm doing as I want to live, basically, right? So I do it for January. I have my birthday next week, so that's gonna be not exactly the 1st of February. So which is obviously before the podcast will air, but still, I will stop for my birthday. I usually do that, and maybe get those 4 lacking days in February that I can do that. I will continue to drink, but be a better drinker and not get as fucked up as before. It's an age thing, as I said. So I guess maybe the day after the pandemic will be very, very wild. I cannot promise anything there. But apart from that, I try to be a good boy and maybe mix him some waters in between the beers and the booze. I don't know.
Yeah, why not? Why not try it out? But I guess that's what we're saying every time, right? I mean, you probably said it before, but let's see where we're going to end up with it.
Yeah, I mean, the one more thing, I'd maybe try to skip a few days during the week and only drink on weekends. That's also something to aim for.
Yeah. Well, do you have any more things to say here, Tribesta?
very happy to have you guys on, and also Niels to take over the podcast. It was did a great job as usual, better than I do. So yeah, let's all keep the spirit and keep the bonding and accept, you know, be drunk, be not drunk, accept everyone, be open. So it should not be let's not hope that in 20 years we're all gonna be fucked up weirdos and disabled people. So let's be, you know, be smart about things, and maybe do it a sober October or September. Maybe throw in another month, and then we'll be all good for years.
I will definitely not promise you anything right here, but
Me neither.
let's give it a go in October. Let's see.
All
All
Well,
right then.
I'm gonna say thank you all for listening to this sober episode of Turbojugend Radio. Please feel free to subscribe to the channel and share this episode with your Turbojugend friends. And yeah, rock and roll. Chibesta.
Rock and roll. Hello, Teresa Ray. You're a babe. I love you.
Good fight. Good night.
Thank you,
Bye,
guys.
guys.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Pleasure.
All right. Bye.
Cheers.
Adios. Peace.
Hail Satan.
And
They're like from the frozen northeast fucking coast of Scotland, up in Aberdeen. Not much to do up here apart from drink, and fucking drink. So on that note, I've chosen this song, originally written and sang by Sean Forbes and his former band, Wat Tyler. Most folk will know Sean from his band Hardskin. Leatherface did a split single with Wat Tyler, well, before they were big and famous, like. Yeah, I gathered Leatherface loved the song so much they started singing at their own bloody gigs. So here you go. Leatherface singing Hops and Barley. One last thing, if you're ever in Berlin, there's a great fucking microbrewery bar called Hops and Barley. It's worth a visit. Go and see Philip who runs it. Great bloke, good beer. Enjoy.